complex PTSD doesn't just happen. It's built slowly over time in environments where emotional safety was either inconsistent or non-existent. So I'm going to talk about 3 different ways this could happen and reflect for a moment in which one applies to you. So the first way this can happen is if you were punished for expressing emotions. Maybe you were told, boys don't cry, or maybe you were told you're making a big deal out of nothing. In other words, you were constantly made to feel bad for your feelings. And so this inadvertently teaches you that feelings aren't safe. The second thing that can happen is that you learned very quickly that if you worked really hard to suppress your needs, suppress who you are, your authenticity, and you focused on trying to make other people happy, and in other words, you were regulating their moods. You were made to feel responsible. If somebody else was upset, you were somehow made to feel responsible. So you learned to work really hard to regulate and keep other people happy. Then you learned to scan constantly, to pick up everyone's micro expressions, to know what everyone else is feeling, because you learned that it was your job to make sure everyone was okay. Something else that can happen that causes CPTSD is when you're blamed for everything that happens. So your mom is completely dysregulated because of her own trauma that she hasn't healed, but somehow it's your fault. Something happens in the house and somehow you're attacked. And so every bad thing, every challenge, every stress that your caregivers go through is interpreted through their own unhealed trauma and their projection onto you. You feel like everything is your fault. In any of those scenarios, or if all 3 apply to you, then you basically grew up learning that life is not safe, people are not safe, the world isn't safe, and just being you, your authentic self, is not safe.